ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to War Stories. My name is Ryan Smeltz, and before we jump into today's episode, I just want to tell you about our sponsor, Soldier Girl Coffee. So if you haven't seen her in the show notes yet, be sure to check out the link down there. This is a phenomenal company, and one of the reasons why we chose to partner with them is because their goal is to not only serve Americans the best coffee experience ever, but they also use their business to inspire and implement solutions to prevent veteran suicide. So that is important, as the coffee is flavorful and one of my favorites. The reason why I like this coffee so much is not only using the link below can you save up to 20% off the coffee, but you can also choose from a wide variety of flavors such as vanilla cream, French vanilla cream, 100% Colombian. They even have snickerdoodle, Hawaiian hazelnut, and southern pecan. I think it's also important to mention that with veterans dealing with PTSD and things of that nature, they also offer hemp-infused or CBD-infused coffee. It is one of the only veteran-owned coffee companies that does that, and it definitely helps with whatever ails you. So if you like supporting small veteran-owned businesses, she was a medic in the Army, and now she runs a coffee company to help other veterans. So be sure to check out that website or your coffee. Get your caffeine fix today. Now, moving on to today's episode, we talked yesterday about me starting in white phase, and if you weren't listening or weren't paying attention, I definitely introduced the episode as Morning Brews. So that being said, if you have not heard Morning Brews, be sure to check out the Business and Brews website, which that and those episodes and the Veteran Talk Show episodes are all on the same website now. So you can go to veterantalkshow.com or businessandbrewshow.com and you end up in the same place. But today we are talking about more about the Phase 3 FTX. I told you yesterday it might turn into multiple episodes, and that is 100% true. So I wanted to tell you, obviously I told you yesterday about how the smoke versus the CS gas, and I mentioned I wanted to talk a little bit about First Sergeant and the shaving episode. So anyone who's ever been to the field knows that you go out there, maybe you have running water, more than likely you don't. They usually have the water buffalo set up where you can refill your canteens, your camelbacks, and then when it comes to shaving, of course, in basic training, I don't even know if anyone had electric razors. I know I didn't. So you just have a regular razor, and when you're not in the barracks, you don't get hot water. So that was super exciting, but it was also very difficult to shave because I personally feel like shaving with a regular razor with cold water is almost the same as shaving with no water. It obviously doesn't make the hair on your face stand up, so it's harder for the razor to get under it, and now it just feels like you're literally taking a rake to your face. I know, I sound like a pro with this beard on talking about shaving, but I did it twice a day for 10 years, and so I wake up, I get my canteen cup and my shaving cream, and I go over there and I rake my face as best as I possibly can. And I know I didn't do a very good job, but I guess in basic training they give you a little bit of leniency later on. We are in the chow line, one of my favorite events during training, and of course you have to come to the position of attention, move forward in line, stop, and then go to the position of parade rest. So we're doing that, and then I'm standing there at parade rest, and the first sergeant is walking around. Now, anyone that remembers basic training, if you're a trainee, if you're a drill sergeant, more than likely you know who the first sergeant is. You talk to them on a regular basis, and you're familiar with who they are. I also don't completely know the structure necessarily, so I assume the first sergeant was for our training company, but I don't know if there's an overlap there or how that works, because I was never a drill sergeant. So anyways, if you're a trainee, then maybe you don't know who that person is. I mean, of course, you see their picture. Maybe they don't come around that much. Maybe you're not very familiar with them. So at this point, I just know the guy with the diamond on his chest is a first sergeant, and he walks by. I believe this was my first interaction with him. I feel like he had already retired from the Army twice and re-enlisted. That is just how old he seemed to me. I don't remember his name, but he paused beside me. He was a very calm person. So it just seemed like he was kind of doing his thing, doing his spot checks or whatever. And he stopped beside me and he says, "Smelts, did you shave today?" And because I had gotten up and raked my face with cold water and done the best I could, I said, "Yes, First Sergeant." And that was the end of it. I know a lot of people probably thought I was about to get ripped a new asshole, but that did not happen. I shaved my face. He stopped and asked if I had shaved, and I said yes, so I did not get the ID card test. It was not that serious. I think because I told him I had shaved and I had put some effort in, they at least expected you to do your best to adhere to the standards. If it had become an issue, I probably would have just asked for some hot water so I could go try again, to be honest with you. But at the end of the Phase 3 FTX, so we didn't talk about this yesterday, but basically if there was no either transportation out to the training area, or there was some sort of ruck march requirement that we had to hit, excuse me, then we would ruck march out to the training area or back from the training area. And so this is one where we ruck marched out to it, and so we turn around and we ruck march back. And that was definitely one of the longer ones. I feel like the Phase 3, some of the rifle ranges that we went to, maybe the Phase 5, depending on where it was. I could be wrong, but I feel like the Phase 5, we essentially took Humvees and they just crammed us in there. Because at that point we had to know how to drive them, and then we practiced night driving and all that. But we'll get to that later on down the road. But the Phase 3 FTX ruck marching back after you had just been in the field for, I believe, at least 5 days, was definitely a challenge. A very long walk. I feel like the rucksacks weren't necessarily that heavy, but this coming from me after I've had experience with heavier rucksacks. But of course, you had the people who struggled, the people who did it easily. I definitely feel for the shorter people, primarily because in the MP Corps we're co-ed, and so the girls have a tendency to be a lot shorter than the guys. And just to put it into perspective, I distinctly remember we had one girl who, at the position of attention, couldn't really hold her rifle properly because it was almost as tall as she was. That might be a bit of an exaggeration, but you get the point. My point is, me being 6'3", going on a ruck march of course, they just try to haul ass. It feels like they put the fastest person up front, and then they're like, "Stay together." She had a little bit more trouble during those ruck marches because her legs are shorter. So that's one thing I noticed. It's like you can set the standard across the board, but at the end of the day, the length of somebody's legs actually do matter. So it could be fun. It could definitely be a challenge. That specific person, I give her props because she kept up and didn't really let it get to her. And you had taller, more capable people falling out, giving up, or asking someone to carry their rucksack. So that was exciting. And of course, you got to hear the drill sergeants yell at them. Anyways, tomorrow we will continue the saga that is my Army career. Don't worry if you're looking to hear more exciting stories, those are coming. If you know someone that is going to basic training or maybe is in the middle of it and you want to send them this podcast, I encourage you to do so. I would love to hear from people what the differences are now in training versus how they were back when I went through. I think that would be pretty cool to hear. So be sure to hit us up on the website. Once again, veterantalkshow.com. Just go to contact us or leave a comment below if you're watching the video on Spotify, YouTube, or Facebook. You can definitely do it that way as well. So if you haven't already, then be sure to subscribe wherever you listen to podcasts. Tell your friends to subscribe as well. And if you like this episode, frankly, even if you didn't, then leave us a 5-star review. My name is Ryan Smeltz. This is War Stories, and I will see you on tomorrow's episode.